north-facing garden. A few years ago, in the beginning, there was only grass. I made a flower bed mostly filled with annuals and sowed a new lawn. It looked amazing in the summer for a couple of years. I even grew some sweet corn, and hyacinth flowers returned in the spring. But in the winter, the bed was void of life. A new fence meant the flower bed was cleared and the lawn was trampled on. I made a new plan for the flower bed to include more permanent plants and also some foliage in the winter. Rather than sticking to shade-loving plants like ferns and hostas, I'm testing the limits of what can grow here. Over time, we will see which plants can adapt to this environment.
Hello. In this video, I'm planting some bare root plants. There was a downpour of hailstones. Then I look around to see how everything is growing now that the sun is reaching the middle of the garden around midday. The instructions for the bare root plants say they must be planted as soon as possible when you receive them. They should be soaked in water for 4 hours. I placed them in these trays and filled them with water from the water butt. I was hoping to plant these in the flower bed, but now with everything growing, I'm not sure that I will be able to find room. Maybe I will have to put some in pots. Because they were to go in the flower bed, all of these plants have flowers that are green or white. First of all, we have Echinacea Green Jewel. I picked this because I was amazed about how green the flower looks. The instructions say to start them in a pot and put them in the ground when it's a bit warmer around May time. I decided to pour on the medium that they had arrived in because it will fill in the gaps between the roots and also it's what they have been used to. All of these plants want to be in a sunny spot with good drainage. The only place I have like that is at the end near the hydrangea where the sea holly was a couple of years ago. I had previously added a lot of horticultural grit to that area. And in May and June it can get up to 8 hours of sun. Next is Eryngium sea holly, Magical Silver. I had looked through my collection of used pots but struggled to find big enough pots for all of these plants. Some of them are a little bit on the small side. This is quite a big root, maybe it will fit better in the round pot. If there are already some shoots showing, they should be left just above the compost and they will soon turn green. Next is Echinacea Honeydew. I really hope these flowers do well because they look amazing in the pictures. Next, another Echinacea, the same as the other one but a different colour. This one is called Milkshake. Quite a lot growing on that already. And lastly, I have Eryngium Silver Salentino, which is another sea holly. There was no option to buy one plant, it only came as the minimum 5-pack. I pulled out 2 plants and looked for some more, but there weren't any. So I thought, well, that's good because I only want 1 plant anyway, so I was quite pleased to have 2. But as I was putting them in the pot, these 2 came apart. So then I looked at the other ones that I'd already pulled out and I found there were 2 more plants plus the one that was already there. So now I have all 5. And then suddenly it started raining hailstones, not just a few but a big downpour. It even looked like it had snowed. This went on for quite a few minutes. It was already a cold day and this took the temperature down further. I scraped the accumulated hailstones off the table and went back to my potting. I thought I should try to remove the hailstones from the pot, but I was a bit fed up with being in the cold, so I just put the compost on top. I found some space in the mini greenhouse for some of the pots, and the rest I put in a sheltered position on the patio. That was on the 12th of March, and today is the 28th of March, and this is how they are looking today. Now for a look around the garden to see what's growing. In the bulb trough, the crocuses are all gone. These native daffodils are small but lovely, and the tulip will be open soon. I had 2 types of white crocuses, Ardschenk, which has the yellow spot in the centre, and Jeanne d'Arc, which is a taller crocus and the flower is bigger and has some very thin purple lines inside. This is the Ardschenk in flower by the hellebores. And these are the Jeanne d'Arc at the sunny end of the garden. I planted 3 types of white hyacinths. The one on the left had the flower broken off before it really started growing, and only a small stem survived. This is Carnegie, and this is Alios. I can't see much difference between the 2 of them, but the one that broken off, Snow Crystal, has a double flower. In the silver box, the great hyacinths are starting to show tiny little flowers, and the climber plant that I got for £1 is starting to come back to life. In the last chance bulb trough, we have some hyacinths in different shades of pink. The cornice didn't look to be doing much, and I was expecting it might have started to grow by now, so I looked closer and I saw that there are new leaves on the way. They're just very small. The witch hazel buds are also showing signs of growth. This is now getting some sun, and we haven't had any rain for a while, so I need to make sure this new plant is kept hydrated. I cleared away some of the strolch and added some compost on the top, and then I put stones on the top of the compost to try to keep it in place, and then I put some fresh strolch on top to try and keep the cat off. And I gave it a good water. The fern is also getting some sun, which it won't like, and you can see the top of this leaf is already looking very dry. So I stood the elephant next to it to give it some shade, and I'm giving it a good water in. This is the pot where the wildflowers and the sea holly were. I can't remember which plants these are, and I will have to wait to see what develops, or I could look back at my films from last year. Anyway, very pleased to see that things are growing in this pot. And last of all for today, a quick look at the seeds which are growing very slowly inside the house.